Okay, so we're going to talk about planning your content for the week just to make it easy for you like ahead of time. So during the week, you are not having to like try to come up with content on the spot if you're not really feeling it or you don't really know what to post. So kind of trying to do things ahead of time just to help us out a little bit. So last week on the call, we had you guys come up with your 5 things about you, 5 or 6 things, and we talked about how to tell your story through your posts. So we want to continue doing that for planning, and this will be really helpful, I think, for those of you that are like super busy or are on the go all the time. Your kids have a crazy busy schedule. You have a really busy schedule during the week. So I just have a couple bullet points of things I want to talk to you guys about. I don't think it should take super, super long, but if you guys have questions as I'm going about either how I do it or a question specifically about yours, you can throw it in the chat and I can answer those at the end, myself or Joyce, as soon as she hops on. So for planning, my first thing is you want to look at your week ahead. So I, first of all, have a planner before I jump into this. So I have like my own teacher planner that I keep like at school for teaching stuff, but I also have a planner for coaching. And this one is the Passion Planner, but I know there's so many other good planners out there. Like there's a Panda Planner, and I can't quite remember the names of the other ones. I know Maria has a different planner. If you want to type yours, Maria, in the comments. There's literally any planner will do. But I basically have like a layout of my month, if you guys can see. And I basically write down everything that has to do with coaching and then anything in my personal life that's going to either affect when I can work on coaching or like things that I might want to post about. Oh, the Rise planner is what Maria has. So that planner was made by a coach, like a Beachbody coach who made that planner. So that's a really good one too. So again, this is the Passion Planner. I know there's a Panda Planner and then the Rise planner or Rise Up. No, just Rise. Okay, so I basically look over my whole month and see, hi Joy. Feel free to jump in anytime you think of something. Okay, so I for example, put all of our team calls for the month because they're going to be every Monday at the same time. So I put all of those in my calendar. I also put my first day of school because we're starting this month. Like that's going to be something that I'm going to want to talk about on my feed and in my stories and things like that. So that's something that's important to me. If you have like anything else going on with like kids or other schedules and stuff going on, like put that in your planner so that you can kind of see like where your month is heading and what you have coming up. Another really good thing to add to your monthly stuff is when your boot camps are starting. So for August, we already have one going on, but that's something that you can talk to your coach about. And actually Joy and I are running them together. So you guys will eventually be like helping us with ours and then, starting your own, a few months down the line. So we're currently in our August boot camp right now. So you can still invite to that. But it's important to know like when's your starting date for your boot camps? Do you have any sneak peeks coming up? There was just that call from for the new coach kickoff call. So like putting stuff like that onto your calendar so you know and can kind of organize things around that will be really helpful. And then on my weekly ones, this planner specifically I like because it's laid out by hour. And I don't necessarily use all of the hours and things, but I like to look at it by week. And I like to say when I'm sitting down at the beginning of the week, like I usually do this on either Saturday night or Sunday night, and look at my week ahead and I say like, what do I have going on this week that I might want to talk about? So like I have an appointment this week on Wednesday night for just a baby checkup appointment. So I put that on here because I'm going to want to write a post about my pregnancy and how far along I am and how the doctor's appointment went or things like that. So just putting that in here so I know that that's happening, and then I know that I want to post about that because that's something that's important to me, and that's something that is one of my 5 things that we had talked about in the last call because I am a mom-to-be. I also put, let's see, like my first day, like looking ahead for like next week, like my first day of school and stuff. Like, again, I just like transfer everything over to like weekly stuff, just so I can get an idea. I also, on each week, like this is this current week, I rewrite my 5 things about me every single week. So it's a constant reminder. If you have it on a sticky note, even just taking that sticky note and transferring it from week to week, so you have that constant reminder of what are those 5 or 6 things about me that are going to help me tell my story. Joy's got hers on a sticky note. And then like in the next week, when it comes time to plan for that week, I'm going to rewrite those things so I can get ideas of things that I want to talk about. Okay, so really looking at your week, what do you have coming up? What are your schedules like? Do you have baseball games for your kids? Do you have work activities that are going on later? Do you have, are you going out to dinner one of the nights? That would be something good to know about that you could talk about, eating healthy while you're going out. Do you have a wedding this weekend? Or do you have, just like what events and things are going on in your life that you could talk about? I mentioned upcoming boot camps and sneak peeks. So knowing like if I have a sneak peek on Thursday coming up about coaching, I would put that on my Thursday thing at like whatever time that coaching sneak peek would be if I was having one. And I know then that those days leading up to it, I need to be talking about coaching. I need to be breadcrumbing. I need to be sharing things about coaching because I know I have this event coming up and I want to invite people to that event. So knowing when those are and putting those on your calendar so you can kind of see like, oh, hey, I have my challenge group is starting next week. My boot camp is starting. I need to be inviting to that this week. So you can, schedule those things in. Breadcrumbs, real quick, I'm going to touch on that because that was something that I like never really understood as a new coach. But breadcrumbs are basically you just talking about your boot camps or coaching. So like, and what it's done for you. So if like a breadcrumb for a, let's say like a boot camp, like my upcoming boot camp, just talking about your boot camp, showing the things in your boot camp, talking about the accountability, you had a really hard day. So you're leaning into your boot camp and, everybody's posting these motivational things and that really helped you get back on track. And just leaving it at that, like not sharing anything else or not asking them to join you, nothing like that. You're basically just like sharing how you feel about it, but not asking them to join you. So just breadcrumbs are like leaving little things along the way so that on one day, like during the week, you can do a really strong, good invite and like post it either in your stories or in on your social media feed. So really being able to plan out those breadcrumbs, knowing when your coaching sneak peeks are coming up, which, we'll be hosting those, and when your boot camps are coming up. So just knowing those things ahead of time. Let's see. Motivational content is a really good one to have in there. So you have your 5 or 6 things that are about you and you want to be sharing all the time. But you're also going to be listening to personal development, and you should be listening to personal development or reading personal development, some sort of PD. And when you're listening to that, sometimes that stuff is going to speak to you and you're going to be like, yes, that is everything. Like that is exactly how I'm feeling right now. I couldn't have said it any better. Like I love what she's saying. This is everything right now. And what I usually do is I usually listen to my PD while I'm in the shower and then getting ready. And sometimes I will literally jump out of the shower, grab my phone and type in a note in my phone, like in the notes section, like just a few of the things that the author was saying while I'm listening to PD, because I'm going to want to post that later because, I got such a good idea from my personal development. and it was exactly how I'm feeling right now. So I wanted to quick like jot that down. And you can kind of start constructing a post based on things that you heard in personal development. So, you know, those motivational things are really great to sprinkle into your content as well, like Motivation Monday, getting everybody ready for the week. You know, people are going to find that they're going to be attracted to that because they need that motivation in their life. I also, for motivational things, if I'm not feeling super motivational, or I am, but I can't like pinpoint how to say it or like the best way to say it, I will go to Pinterest and I will search for like motivational quotes, or like inspirational quotes, or like pregnancy inspirational quotes or workout inspirational quotes, depending on like whatever it is that I'm feeling or want to talk about. And then using some of those quotes, I'll save them in like a Pinterest board, and then you can use those later or like at the time to create a post all about that. You could start your post with that quote or end it with that quote, and then, you know, expand on it. Like, how did that make you feel? Why are you talking about that quote? What does it mean to you? So just saving those things like in the notes in your phone or on Pinterest so that you have things to go back to later when you were feeling like in the moment with those things. And then the last one, as far as like planning out like things that you can be talking about, is engagement. So doing engagement posts in your feed and in your stories is super important to getting people comfortable with talking to you and interacting with you. So that's things like, hey, I'm going out to dinner with Cody on Saturday night. Like, which outfit should I wear, A or B? Should I wear the dress or should I wear jeans and a nice top? And people love that stuff. They feel so like they want to give their opinions. And that gets you, you know, you can then message them from that and be like, hey girl, thanks so much for your input. Like, I ended up going with the dress like you said. I loved it. I'm super excited for my date night. We're going here, whatever. And you just can have conversations with these people. And these are people that you can eventually invite down the line. To join a boot camp, or you're just building that relationship with them, and they're going to feel more comfortable to reach out to you if they are ready to join a boot camp or start coaching or whatever the case may be. So it could be,
Can I tag on to that?
Yes.
I was just going to say, when you are doing an engagement post, like, make sure that it's authentic to who you are. Like, if you don't wear a ton of dresses, like, don't post a pic of you, you know, like, hey, look at me, like, which dress should I choose? Because then it doesn't feel like authentic. You know what I mean? I've gotten caught up in that before. Like, I feel like I have to do an engagement post, and I post something and I'm like, I don't really need an opinion on that. Like, that wouldn't be what I would ask, you know? But if I'm asking more about like food or something, like, that's more me. So make it authentic to who you are so that you're really like targeting your audience and your people, and they know like you're being real with it, not just to get like engagement. You know what I mean?
For sure. So like something I've done before is like, which pair of shoes should I buy, or like in what color should I buy them, because I have a lot of shoes. So like, you know, should I get them in brown or should I get them in black?
And another one, I just thought of this. Another one is like one I've done before is like getting people's opinion. It doesn't have to be like A or B or whatever, but just getting their opinion on like, hey, I'm going on a cruise for vacation. Like, which one's better, Disney cruise or Royal Caribbean? Give me your thoughts. And that way they can comment with their own thing, and you're actually getting good information from them. But it's not like, hey, pick A or B. It's like, hey, I really need your opinion on this kind of thing, because people love to give their actual opinion. Like, they want to tell you everything they know.
Yeah.
So that too.
And leaving that open, like, hey, I'm going on a cruise. Tell me everything you know about cruises, because I've never been on one. Literally, people will comment like essays on your posts for that stuff. Like, they love to give you feedback, or give you, not feedback, but like give you advice or things that you don't know about, but they do. They love to interact with that stuff. And that's going to make them more comfortable to be able to interact with you later down the line. When you do go to invite them to a boot camp, they're going to feel more of that connection because you're taking their opinions. and talking about it. If you do something that's like, choose A or B, or, Royal Caribbean or Princess Cruises or whatever the case is, like, make sure you talk about it again later and be like, like if it was date night for Cody and I, like I'll post maybe the day before, like which outfit should I do? And then on date night, I'll post a picture of Cody and I on date night, and I'll be like, I ended up going with the dress, or like I'll type my post and at the end be like, oh, by the way, thanks for all your help. I ended up going with the dress. So just to throw that little stuff in there so they feel like you actually took their advice. They're going to feel that more of a connection. All right, so those are all things that you can actually like talk about and looking at your week to plan those out. So my biggest tip is knowing when your boot camps are and your sneak peeks, your coaching sneak peeks are. Probably focusing more on boot camps for now for like the newer coaches. If you've been coaching for a little bit and you've been helping us run boot camps and stuff, then definitely starting to get into the coaching sneak peeks with us. And we will keep you guys updated on when those dates are in our team pages. So don't feel like you have to make those up on your own. We will definitely help you with those. But planning posts ahead of time. So thinking about your week, like I know that I'm going to a doctor's appointment for my pregnancy on Wednesday. I'm going to start thinking about things I want to say about that, like how excited I am that I'm that much closer to meeting my baby girl, and maybe some of the things that I have ready in the nursery that are new that I haven't shared before, things like that. So I can start in the notes on my phone is actually where I pre-type some of my posts, and I will literally write an entire post. So all I have to do on Wednesday is take a picture, however I want to take a picture, whatever pose, with my bump, in the doctor's office with Cody, whatever the case is. All I have to do is take a picture, copy and paste all the words I already wrote on Sunday night, and then post it. Like, it makes it so much easier. If you don't know how you're going to feel in the moment, you don't have to write it ahead of time. Totally fine. You can write it as you're going. But just to have something as a backup, if you're like, I don't know what to say in the moment, but you already had something to lean back, or you have something to fall back on that you already wrote. Same thing with those like motivational things. When you're listening to personal development and you're really feeling in the moment with those things, like, those are really great things to post now, or to even save and then post like when you don't have anything to post. If you're like, I don't know what to do or what to write, but when you took notes on that personal development book or chapter that you were reading or listening to, you can kind of craft that post ahead of time. And then you have something in the notes of your phone that you can copy and paste and post. So I have literally maybe 30 different like notes on my phone, and each of them has one post for each day of the week. Like, I have so much content in there because like just as I think of it, I'm like, oh, that would be good. Let me write that down. And I start typing and you just get into it. And then you just like have it in your phone for something that you can post later. But if I write down that I'm going to post about my baby appointment, and then maybe I end up not wanting to post about that on Wednesday because I'm just not feeling it or whatever the case is, and I might want to actually post that on Thursday, like, just know that you can be flexible. So whatever you write down in your calendar doesn't actually have to happen. If you wrote a post ahead of time on Sunday, and then you get to like Thursday when you were going to use it, and it was maybe a call to action or a breadcrumb that you wrote ahead of time, you don't actually have to use that. If you're not feeling that on that day in that moment, like, don't use it. Save it for later. Save it for another day. Be authentic to yourself on that day in that moment. Because people want to see that you're showing up as you. Where if you post this like really bubbly post because you wrote it ahead of time, and then in your stories you're like, I'm having the worst day, but on your feed is like, hey, I'm awesome and everything's great, then people are going to know that you're fake and you're lying. So,
yeah, y'all, like, people know when you're not being your authentic self. Like, that is so true what she just said. Like, people are watching your stories, and that's where the vulnerability comes in. You have to be willing to share the raw and the struggle as it's happening. And that's why I do love to have those notes. But I don't really plan out my post because I mean, I do what she's saying and write everything down. Like, I have thoughts of what I want to post, but when the moment comes and I'm feeling a certain way that day, like, I always go with that because of what she just said. Like, we all have days that we're struggling and we have to share that. Like, that's part of our journey.
Yeah, and to go off of that, like when you are struggling, like do share that. It is hard in the beginning to want to be vulnerable and share those things. But that's what, you know, your followers are going to be more attracted to, that because you're being real. Like so many times people will be like, thank you so much for sharing that because I am going through the same thing. Or like if I see somebody post something about pregnancy and how they hate being pregnant, I'm like, girl, you are speaking my language because I hate being pregnant. Like I would rather not be pregnant right now. Like I'm really excited for my baby, but I do not enjoy the journey of being pregnant. Like it's not my favorite thing, you know? So you're like, you find those things to connect on, and that's what they're going to be connecting with you on. If you're struggling with something, like other people are too, and they want to be able to relate to that. So just being real and sharing that. And I think the important thing about sharing that stuff is that you're sharing how you're getting through it. So don't just say like, you know, I'm having a terrible day, everything sucks, and then that's it. Like you need to like bring light to that. Like, you know, this morning was really rough, you know, all these things were going wrong, but I showed up for myself. I got my workout in. It wasn't the best, but I was there. I showed up for myself. I leaned into the community. I've got all these girls that were there to lift me up, you know, and now I'm working through this to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. So like always just bringing light to that. Okay. I'm out of breath. Anything else you want to add, Joy? Any questions that you guys have, if you want to put them in the chat or just unmute yourself, either way, about planning content or thinking ahead of your week.
Yeah, unmute yourselves, people. We want to hear from you. Thank you guys for showing up. Like, I love seeing your faces on here. Ashley and I are just like, we talk about this all the time. We're like, our teams are awesome. They're just like, y'all are rolling with momentum. So if you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask, because we want you to get the most out of this. No question.
Other things I can add, or are we all okay with what breadcrumbs are? Okay.
Makes sense. Does everybody understand like how often you should be posting certain things like call to actions and breadcrumbs and that kind of thing? Like,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, does anybody have questions on that?
So I know I haven't really talked about that too much with my newer coaches. So a call to action, I would say maybe once a week on your feed, right, Joy?
Yes.
Like you do not want every post to be a call to action, or it sounds salesy and it sounds like you're pushy and like that's all you care about is health and fitness. That's why we have those 5 or 6 things about you, to spread out those call to actions. Like you don't want everything to be about fitness and like health and fitness stuff. So I would say on your actual feed on like Instagram, once a week for a call to action. And those should be like really strong. And the only way that they're really strong is if you're breadcrumbing throughout the week. And I would say, I mean, breadcrumbs could be like every single post that you have, just talking about how amazing this is. But definitely have like your lifestyle stuff in there too. So I would breadcrumb about coaching, how you're helping other people. Even if you haven't signed anybody up, you are still a coach. You are still helping the other people in our accountability groups. You are commenting on other people's posts. I see all of you guys doing it that are on here right now. You know, so even though you don't have your own people, you're still helping everybody else in the group by showing up for yourself and by helping motivate them and commenting on their stuff. So you can still talk about that and how you're helping others. As far as a breadcrumb, so I mean, what do you think, Joy, for breadcrumbs for coaching? Like,
I think for coaching, like maybe 2 to 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And it really kind of depends on where you're at in your business. A lot of you are newer coaches, so you want to be focused more on, getting people in your boot camps. So I would say like 2 to 3 times a week, like subtle breadcrumbs about what you're doing as a coach and how you're, like you being on this call is a breadcrumb. Like you can put this in your stories and talk about, showing up for the team call and this amazing community and getting information from other coaches. That's a breadcrumb. They can be in your stories. They don't have to just be in your post. So I would say 2 to 3 times a week. But like Ashley was saying, really every post you do should be a breadcrumb for something. Like you're subtly telling your story related to either the challenge groups and how amazing the community is or your journey. Like this morning I did a post I was thinking about how I used to hate gyms and being intimidated so much. And I didn't do a call to action, even though I was tempted to. I think some of the best the best posts are ones that leave people thinking. Like it's not like, hey, come join me, drop an emoji. Like those should just be once a week. The rest of them should be, this is what I'm doing. I'm sharing my journey with you. Almost like your social media is like your journal, right? Like you're just sharing and you're encouraging, not like, hey, I'm the hero, look at me, do all these things, but I'm on this journey, I'm doing this for me, and being encouraging about it. You know what I mean? But yeah, every post should be some sort of breadcrumb to leave them wanting a little bit more or wanting to know a little bit more. Does that make sense, Ashley?
Yeah, sure. And like all of those posts that are breadcrumbs should be like your lifestyle posts. So those five or six things about you.
Yeah.
And sprinkling those out. So like, if I'm a dog mom, I need to make sure that I'm talking about my dogs. And sometimes it's easy to forget that because like it's hard to take a picture with my dogs. Like they just don't stop moving. Like they're always moving. I can't get them to sit still for anything. So to like post about that is hard for me. So I need that reminder in my weekly stuff to like be like, okay, on Friday I have to post something about my dogs just because otherwise I'm not going to. So like everything should be like about your life, but it always ties back to the things that we're doing. Our boot camps, our coaching, whatever. But just like leaving them hanging without saying coaching or boot camps or anything like that. Like, today I leaned into one of the girls in my groups and whatever. Like it could be anything like that.
And don't be afraid like to mention that, because I feel like I had that fear in the beginning. It was like I didn't want to like say accountability group or say like, but think about it as like your job. Like when I was a teacher, people knew I was a teacher because I posted about it. I posted about my kids doing a project or learning, a fun math game or whatever. Like I posted about it because that's my lifestyle. Like that was who I was. Same for you. You are a coach. You are living this lifestyle. So don't be afraid to like talk about your virtual fitness groups or, like having that accountability in this community or getting on a Zoom call or however you want to word it. Because I guarantee somebody's going to be like, what's that? What's a Zoom call? What's an accountability group? I saw that on one of Stacy's posts today. I was like, yeah, because she said accountability group. And they were like, just out of curiosity, what is that? Good conversation. And you message them and you have a whole, relationship with that person. So don't be afraid to like mention the words that about that they may not. Like talk about it because people are interested and they want to know.
Yes, agreed. Any questions that we can answer?
Oh, and I just want to give a shout out to all of you people because especially my coaches, I don't know, I haven't been stalking the rest of you, but I know my coaches really took, and I'm sure Ashley can say this too, but you guys took our last week's call, our story, all about storytelling, and you ran with it, like for real. Like Stacy, Nikki, Remy, like I saw there was a post in every every one of your feeds that I was like, oh my gosh, they were digging deeper. And there's other coaches on this call that I noticed that too. So I just want to say congrats, because like you really took that and really like figured out your story parts of it and shared it this week, and it's been really awesome to see. I've been like messaging Ashley behind the scene. I'm like, they're doing so good, like so good. And that's really what we want you guys to do, is just focus every week on that specific thing, because once you do little things at a time and you kind of then combine it all together, like that's when it becomes like fluid and flows a little bit better for you. So hopefully you're taking these calls. Hopefully they're helpful and you keep taking that momentum with you. So I'm really proud of all of you guys.
Yeah, everybody has been doing so amazing lately. I love it.
We're like, if y'all could see our messages.
Actually not. We love our coaches.
We get so pumped. Oh, but yeah, we're excited. Any last minute questions? If not, we're just gonna wrap it up, and hopefully we have this recorded, right? So everyone can watch that didn't get to pop on. But you guys are awesome for being here. Do you want to take a picture, Ashley?
I sure do.
Steph, I feel like, yeah, Steph's trying to take a picture. Let's take a picture.
Okay, let me stop the recording.
You beautiful ladies showing up for